I'm not even kidding. This should be getting a lot more media attention. This should be considered the media scandal of the decade. So we all know Politico. Politico is this trash media outlet that is known for its hit pieces. It's known for being a state-run media organization, which has always been a joke, but then we learned the joke is actually true. And where there's smoke, there's fire. This has been one of the most notorious news sources for a while now, because every time you see some bogus, idiotic headline, it somehow, some way is rooted and traced back to Politico. For example, when everything was going on with Hunter Biden, let's look at one of these headlines, for example. This is a classic headline from Politico. Hunter Biden's story is a Russia disinfo, dozens of former intel officials say. Who are those intel members? Because as we came to find out, this was a fully true, incredible story. This was a story that was so consequential that a lot of people said that if they knew the truth about the Hunter Biden laptop, it would have affected how they voted back in 2020. But of course, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, all these different outlets were tracing back their stories to Politico. So what we just learned about Politico is that they were receiving over $8 million from USAID. USAID has been in the headlines over and over again. We just talked about recently how there was the allegation that $50 million was set to go to Gaza for condoms, which were going to be used to turn into bombs. And then it was confirmed that about $15 million of condoms was sent over to the Taliban, which gives extra truth and credibility to the story about the condoms going to Gaza. So with this $8 million going to a news outlet, it raises a lot of questions. It makes it very clear that Politico has been a left-wing propaganda arm all this time, which we been knew. We already knew that, but now the money has traced and has proven that to be true. And what people are saying is that a lot of this money was actually going towards subsidizing the subscriptions from a lot of different federal agents, which I just find that very alarming. How many federal agents were needing to have a subscription to Politico? That just doesn't even make sense to me, saying that that was where they were getting their news and their information from. So which one is it? Is it the chicken or the egg? Are the government agencies giving their information to Politico, or is Politico telling the government this is actually what's happening over there? So it just shows, again, are y'all following me here? Because it is showing that Politico has been corrupt and has been a propaganda arm. And then you think about it, what are some other notorious headlines that have come out of Politico? Oh yeah, remember one of the other most consequential leaks that has happened in U.S. history when it comes to the media, the Dobbs leak? Let's look at this situation. Remember when the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade was leaked over to the press before it was even officially announced, which made so many people just go up in arms when it came to the midterm elections? Oh yeah, that was a Politico leak. So now I want to know, who was it that went over to Politico? Oh yeah, it was more than likely some left-wing administration. Yeah. So this is wild. And then what I realized is that all these employees that have been up in arms for the last week saying that they weren't getting paid. Oh yeah, the reason that they weren't getting paid over at Politico is because their funding was stopped. A massive, if not majority, of amount of their income that was coming in was coming from USAID. They sent out this employee email. We'll pull it up on the screen so you guys can read it. This is what the employees were told. Basically just this excuse of why they weren't getting paid. They tried to write it off as being some kind of technical error. Oh no. It was not a technical error. It was y'all being caught in 4K. It was your bags have been stopped like this is TSA, because the Trump administration went right up in there and they cut the funding. This is insane. These are taxpayer dollars coming from our federal government going to all of these different insane places, different countries, different organizations. But the fact that it's going to Politico, again, the source of the sources, this is your favorite left-wing source's favorite source, has been getting funded by our government. And I haven't been able to look super deep into this one, but I saw, I believe it was Liz Wheeler posted this screenshot that outside of just USAID, there are a bunch of different federal organizations that have been putting money towards Politico. So it is now being alleged that a total of $34.3 million across all fiscal cycles have been sent over to Politico. Y'all aren't mad enough for me. Y'all are not mad enough. When we talk about all the misinformation, all the hell that conservatives have gone through, all the different times that we have been censored and shut out of conversations and being told that we are misinforming the public, and people have been like, oh, well, this is what fact checker says. Guess where fact checkers was getting their information from? Politico. So Politico, y'all are the goofy of the day, and you should be absolutely ashamed of yourself.